Hello, my name is Daniel Lockhead, and I'm here to discuss my author discussion on James Weldon Johnson. There we go, by Danny Lockhead. So we'll dive right into it. James Weldon Johnson's early life. He was born on June 17th, 1871, in Jacksonville, Florida. And his father was an entirely self taught restaurant waiter, and his mother was a musician and schoolteacher who actually encouraged him to later pursue music and literature, which then goes to our third point, describing how he was determined to pursue education and had a keen interest in literature from the start due to his mother's intellectual background. Now, he was very determined as a young man. Through primary school, he attended Stanton School in Jacksonville up until high school, where he then got his finished high school and got his Bachelor of Arts degree at Atlanta University in 1904, later getting his Master of Arts degree from Atlanta University in 1904. He then, out of college, went and proceeded to be a principal at Stanton School, where he went to primary school, like I said, and he actually expanded the school to include a high school because he never had that privilege when he went there. And actually, in the midst of all of this, he studied law, and he actually learned the studies of law from a white man, which I found interesting because it was, kind of so early, back when blacks and African Americans were being oppressed. I thought it was interesting, and that he learned law, and I was actually admitted to the Florida bar in 1898. And then later, he and his brother traveled to New York to pursue a career in writing, which then takes us to our next slide, talking about how he was really a Broadway spectacle because he and his brother got a job at writing for musicals for Broadway shows, and they were really successful, and they actually composed about 200 songs on Broadway, which included Under the Bamboo Tree, Since You Went Away, My Castle on the Nile, and The Young Warrior. Now, he was also a big political figure. For example, he served as treasurer in the Colored Republican Club. He was part of the United States Consul in Puerto Cabello, Venezuela in 1907, appointed by the Roosevelt administration, and then later in 1909 shifted to the United States Consul in Nicaragua until 1913. And actually, in that time while he was in Nicaragua, he wrote one of his most famous novels, which is the autobiography of an ex-colored man, which we'll talk about later in the next slide. But then after 1913, 1916, he joined the staff of the NAACP, where he fought for African American rights, where he notably stirred the South into taking action to abolish slavery. Now, his famous works, including, like I just said, the autobiography of an ex-colored man, which is one of his most well-known novels. And it's a story about a man who has mixed heritage, his father being white and his mother being black, and his skin is essentially light enough for him to pass as a white man, but in doing so and throughout the story, it circles around the fact that he is still emotionally attached to his mother's heritage, and it kind of makes it hard for him to make sense of the world around him. And then God's Trombones kind of touches on Johnson's poetry aspect of his works, and it's a book of poetry, which, like it says here, one of his most celebrated works. It's a collection of sermons of African American preachers reimaginated in the form of poetry. It's very interesting. Excuse me. Later in life, he earned numerous rewards of his feats, including the W.D. Du Bois Prize for Negro Literature. He was awarded the Spingarn Medal twice and the Harmon Award for Distinguished Achievement. That being said, it's sad to say Johnson met a rather gruesome death in 1938 when he and his wife were actually visiting Maine, and a train struck the car he and his wife were in, and he was 67 years old when he died. Thank you very much. Here's the works cited page, and that's it. Thank you.